Okay, on to our next section, add images to the Dice Roller app. And this one is in, let's take a look. Signed me out. Okay, this one is in Android Basics and Kotlin, Kotlin Basics, Unit 1, Pathway 4, and it's Lesson 4. Alright, before you begin, in this code lab you will add dice images to your existing Dice Roller Android app. Be sure to complete the earlier code lab on building the foundation of the Dice Roller app first. We did that. Instead of displaying the value of the dice roll in a text view, your app will display the appropriate dice image for the number of sides that was rolled. It will be a much more visual and enhanced user experience for your app. Okay, so we're going to display a dice instead of the image, or instead of the text. You'll be provided with a link to download the images, and then you will add them as resources in your app. To write code for which dice to use, you will be using a when statement in Kotlin. Prereqs. Complete the create an interactive dice roller app. You're able to write control flow statements such as if else and when statements. Able to update the user interface of the app based on the user input, modifying the main activity KT file. Able to add the click listener onto a button. Able to add an image resource onto the Android app. How to update the image view while the app is running. How to customize your app behavior on different conditions when using a when statement. What you'll build, dice roller app that has a button to roll a dice and update the image on the screen. What you'll need, Android Studio and an internet connection to download the images. Update the layout for the app. In this task, you'll replace the text view of your layout with an image view that displays an image of the dice roll result. Open the Dice Roller app. Alright. You can use the solution code or the code you created. The app should look like this. Okay. So let me open up that. Alright, so I have mine open. My app does not look like that because my app, I did the extra credit where it said add another dice. And yeah, so that's what's going on with that. So since we're deleting these anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. So delete. And we'll delete the other text view. Alright, and then the button. I'm going to delete this constraint because it's messing it all up. Alright. And delete all the constraints for now, actually. So I'm just going to place it in the center for now. Alright. It's got no constraints on it. And then we can either design it from the palette and just drop and drag one in like it wants us to, or we could type the code in to add an image view. So why don't we type a code in to add an image view above the button. So image view, okay. And it says we're going to add an image view of we're going to make it fixed. So I think it's 144 and 166, but it doesn't say on this part. So let me do that real quick. I'm just going to put 144 dp, density pixels, and 166 dp. Okay. So this is our text view. All right. 179. Okay. And it wanted us to give it a source for now. Okay. You give it anything for now. We're going to replace it soon anyway after we add the drawables. Let's see what it says. All right. And then I guess I should put the constraints like before. So this is this is constrained to that. That is constrained to that. This is constrained to this. Oh, no. Actually, I'm going to take that. No, take this constraint out that we just added. Okay, actually, we'll do this one. Constraint there. Okay. And we'll do this constraint to that. This constraint to that. Same thing here. Okay. Looks good. All right, it's a good layout now. So, see what it says. All right, open activity main, delete the text view. I did that. Add an image view. I just put any drawable in there. It's going to say to pick a resource. It says to pick avatars, but it really doesn't matter because it's going to have a switch at for a dice image pretty soon. All right. Just fix the constraints. You can either drag or you can program. I usually just drag, it's faster. Add the vertical constraints. Yeah, so this image is constrained all four sides, and the button is just constrained to the bottom of this and the sides. Okay. All right, add the dice images. Open this URL and download the dice files to the computer. All right. Show in folder. Okay. Dice images, we're going to extract. Extract all. Extract. Okay. See. All right, so now we have our zip folder and our new folder, which is not zipped, and our dice images. All right, so there's our dice images. And then it says we're gonna go to the resource manager and hit the plus and go to import drawables. And then we're gonna select the files and add them. So we could just go here, go to our resource manager, go to the plus sign to add the drawables. We're going to import the drawables. Instead of selecting it from this, you can just drag it into the menu here. So that's what I'm going to do since I already have the folder open. So I'm just going to move the folder. Okay. I'm just going to select these. All right. I'm just going to drag them in. All right. Let's see what it says to do with this. Okay. So once you have it and it's getting ready to import them, say anything about qualifier. Next, import to confirm the 6 resources. Select a type. Click next, then import to confirm you want to import these 6. Guess it's not having us select any type for now. Alright. So let's go back and just confirm next. Import dice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Import. Alright. And then we'll just change this to crawlable dice 1 for now. So it looks like a dice roller app. Okay. So that is our design view. That's our code view. And it has us working primarily in design in these tutorials, but I've been reading some other things about how to do the XML code. And I actually find the XML code to be a little bit easier than the design view, just because you can see exactly the code that's written to place the items in the layouts. All right. Let's see. Next, use the dice images. Replace the sample avatar with the image, and it has you do this in the tools menu. So instead of doing what I did and just change the code, it has you use the design view over here. It has you click on the image view and then go down to the tools menu. This one. Add roll dice 1. So it doesn't set the actual image. So I guess I could take that. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Doesn't really matter. It'll just load that way. And then when you roll, it'll change it after we write the code. Let's see what it says, though. Remember that SRC compat attributes provided the image only inside the design view. The image is only displayed to developers as you build the app, but will not be seen when you actually run the app on an emulator or on a device. Okay. SRC compat. Let's see. So if I just change my code to say SRC compat, it should be fine. Yeah, it says that. Tools. Oh. I'll just take this one out. That would be fine. Okay. Yep. Still looks in design view. You can still see it, but it's not actually assigned now because it's just on the tools namespace. All right. Image view takes up the whole screen. Oh, it doesn't for mine because I already set the dimensions of the image view before I put the images in there. 160 by 200 it wants us to make it. So I can just go back and show you where to do that. So if you're changing the code, you can just go to the image view and width and height. So it says use 160 dp for the width, density pixels, and use one, or no, I think it said 200 for the height. Okay. So go to split, go to design, and if you didn't want to change it in the code, you can go to this design section. You can click on the image view, and then you can go up to attributes, declared attributes, layout width 160, layout height 200. And if you change it here, it changes it in the code. If you change it in the code, it changes it in here. So that's the same. Image view is now much smaller. Well, for me, it was a little bit bigger, but You might find the button is a little too close to the image. Add top margin to the button of 16 dp by setting it in the constraint widget. Okay. So I'll add a little space. So select the button, top margin. Oh, it says 20 dp. Can make it 16, like they said. Okay, it's fine. 16. Once the design view updates, the app looks much better. Note density pixels, independent pixels, dp, as the unit to define these dimensions so that the image size scales nicely appropriately on devices with different pixel resolutions. Change the dice image when the button is clicked. The layout has been fixed, but main activity class still needs to be updated with dice images. There is currently an error in the app and main activity KT file. If you try to run the app, you will see this build error, filled unresolved reference text view, because we deleted the text views. This is because your code is still referencing the text view that deleted from the layout. Open the file and change it to reference image view instead of text view. So update the text view with the roll dice. It still says text view. So still with roll dice, create new variable called dice image of type image view and set it equal to image view from the layout. Finally, use find view by ID method to pass in the resource ID for the image view. Resource ID dot image view as the argument. Val dice image equals image view. Okay. If you're wondering how to figure out the precise resource ID of image view, check the ID at the top of the attributes window of the image view when you have it selected in design view. Alright, so I need to do this still within roll dice. Okay, so we will go to main activity, go to our function roll dice. Okay. So instead of resulting text view, it says to do val dice image view. So we'll just change this to val dice image. Of type image view. All right, find view by ID resource.id should be image view. Okay. And it shouldn't be this. It should be dice image dot I'll have to come back to that. So we're going to have to do something with dice image, but not that, because this was referring to text. Get rid of this other one, because we don't have 2 dice anymore right now. We can get rid of dice roll 2, so we don't have dice roll 2 anymore. We can get rid of dice 2, because we don't have dice 2 anymore. That was the extra credit from when it asked us to create this. Okay. Alright, so this is where it rolls it and returns the random number that's generated. The random number is generated and returned to dice.roll. Yep, so this is the new object, dice.roll. Dice image. Pause. Dice roll. Oh, but we've got to create something for when. Oh, okay. So we use a when statement. I'm thinking when dice roll. When dice dot roll is equal to 1, and we're going to do something. That's equal to 2. We're going to do something. That's equal to 3. And we're going to do something. It's equal to 4. And we're going to do something. It's equal to 5. And we're going to do something. It's equal to 6. And we're going to do something. All right, so we are going to dice image dot set image resource dot id dot no, it's drawable. Resource dot drawable dot dice one. Then I think I could just copy and paste this, and instead of dice one, I could just put dice 2, dice 3, dice 4, dice 5, 6. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where are my errors? Used import. Next view. Yeah, I probably don't need that anymore. I'm not using it, so we can just delete it. Okay. Dice roll is never used. Dice roll. So instead of call dice roll, should be here. Nice. Oh, but I gotta put this on the set on click listener, so it won't do anything when I hit the button right now. Roll button. Alright, set on click listener. Roll dice. Oh, so when you do it, that happens. Okay. So let's see if it works. Still installing. Let's see. Still within dice roll, create a variable called dice image of type image view, set it equal to image view from the layout. Use the find view by ID method to pass in the resource ID for the image view, resource ID.image view. Okay. As an argument, okay. That's what we did. If you're wondering how to figure out the precise ID of image view, all right. Dice image. Dice.roll. Okay. Dice image. Dice image dot set image resource. Okay. Start off with a blank screen when you run it. Let's see. Okay. So it's running. Roll. All right. When I click it, an image comes up and it rolls. It works. All right. So my when statement worked. My the way that I reassign the image view with this when statement. So basically I'm saying when I call dice roll, which is my local variable for my function roll dice, and dice roll is equal to a new object instance of dice, which is this class. And when you call dice roll, it calls the class, but it calls the function of the class of dice, which is the function roll. It generates the random number of what the dice will be. And then it returns what that random number is into this variable, dice roll. So it says whatever random number this is, if it's a 1, set the image resource to the dice image 1, or set it to the dice image 2, or set it to the dice image 3, or set it to the dice image 4, or set it to the dice image 5, or set it to the dice image 6, which we imported those drawable resource images to use in our project. And the image view is just the view that we put on the screen when we were designing it. All right, cool. So that works pretty good. Let's see what else it has. All right, you're able to change the image. Okay. And then this talks about the when statements. So if you read through this, oh, it has you do it with an if else statement first. But at the beginning, it told us to do it with a when. So we could do the same thing here. So we could say instead of when, we could do like if else, we could do if dice roll is equal to 1, then, and then do this. And then we could do else if dice roll is equal to 2, then do this, change the image to the second image. So we could use either a if statement or a when statement, but it told us to use when in the beginning, because it's, I think less coding, less chance to mess up if you use a when. All right, so let's see what else it says. All right, running if else for each case is pretty repetitive. Yeah, so use the when. Okay, method should look like this. It does. Run the app, click the roll button, and the dice changes. Very cool. Optimize your code. If you want to write even more concise code, you could make the code change. It doesn't have to be visible impact to the user of your app, but it will make your code shorter and less repetitive. You may have noticed that call to diceimage.setResource appears 6 times in your statement. Yep. The only thing that changes between each case is the resource ID that's being used. This means you can create a variable to store the resource ID to use. Then you can call diceimage.setResource only once in your code and pass in the correct resource ID. Replace the code above with the following: val resource ID equals. So basically just drawable resource. Val drawable resource equals when dice roll diceimage.setImageResource drawable resource. So diceimage.setImageResource okay, and we're setting the drawable resource based on the result. Okay. Diceimage.setImageResource drawable resource. So it's saying val dice. What do they call it? Val drawable resource equals. And then instead of doing this here, we could do it down below. We could do copy, paste. And we can just set the drawable resource down here, and then just get rid of this stuff. Okay. That's our error. One expression must be exhausted. So I've got to add an else. Okay. Now it's exhausted. All right. Close. All right. Let's rerun it. See if it works with the different change. Still running. Still building. All right. Let's see. Moment of truth. All right. The app starts up. Let's roll. Yeah. Still works. Good. Interesting. To shorten having to say diceimage.setResource. Just put the available resources under each item. Still works. Okay. see what else it wants us to do. All right. A new concept here is that when expression can actually return a value. With the new code snippet, the when expression returns the correct resource ID that will be stored in the drawable resource variable. Cool. Then you can use that variable to update the image resource displayed. Notice the when is now underlined in red. If you hover over it, you'll see the error message is exhausted. Add an else branch. Okay, cool. That's what I did. Run the app to still make it work. Sure it works. It does. Note normally the content description should use string resources so that the translator, so it can be translated into other languages. We'll get into this in a future lesson. Okay. Adopt good coding practices. Create a more useful launch experience. When the user opens the app for the first time, the app is blank, except the roll button, which looks odd. Users may not know what to expect, so change the user interface to display a random dice roll when your app first starts. Create the activity. Then users are more likely to understand that tapping the roll button will produce a dice roll. Okay. Do a dice roll when the app starts. Oh, okay, so just call roll dice at the beginning. So up here, roll dice. Okay, let's see if it works. So instead of starting blank with just a button, start with an image of a dice. All of truth. Yep, it does. Cool. Perfect. Comment your code. Add some comments in your code to describe what is happening. After you made all these changes, this is what your roll dice method might look like. Roll the dice and update the screen with the result. Create new dice object with 6 sides. Find image view in the layout. Determine which drawable resource to use based off the dice roll. Update the image view with the correct drawable resource ID. Update the content description. Dice image dot content description equals dice roll dot toString. Ah, that's interesting. So, so whatever dice image it is, it makes a description of that for like the hearing impaired if you add this line. Dice image dot content description equals dice roll toString. Dice roll dot toString. Oh, so it just says 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. That kind of thing. So this content description will be stored here. And if the people are hearing impaired when they roll or visually impaired when they click the roll button, they'll hear 1, 2, 3, or 4 if they're listening to the app, or 5 or 6. Cool. Interesting. All right. Well, we're done completing the Dice Roller app. Here's the solution code if you want to check against their solution code. Summary. Use the setImage resource to change the image that is displayed in an image view. Use the control flow statements like if-else expressions or when expressions to handle different cases in your app. For example, showing different images under different circumstances. Cool. Learn more. Android Kotlin glossary, if expression in Kotlin, when expression in Kotlin, imageview.setImage resource, and accessibility, which is that last thing we talked about, where they were talking about good coding practice, and they're talking about updating the content description with this code right here. That's what the accessibility thing is. All right, practice on your own. Practices are optional, but they provide an opportunity to practice what you've learned in this code lab. Do the following: add another dice to the app so that the roll button gives 2 dice results. How many image views will you need in your layout? How will this affect the main activity code? Okay, so let's do that real quick. So this is our app right now. Stop it. Code 1, well, let's do the layout change first. So let's do a split view. We'll close our emulator for now while we're doing this. All right, so we have one image view here. We've got a button. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this image view and put it above the other one. And then, okay. This is going to be, we're going to change the name of it to image view 2. It's going to be the same size as the other one. Constrain bottom of the image view to bottom of this to, no, we're not going to have this at all because it's all going to be based on that other image view. So we're going to strain to end of parent. Okay, to start of parent. So that's the horizontal constraints of the image. So it's saying this line here is this one. So the end of the image is constrained to the end of the parent. The beginning of the image is constrained to the beginning of the parent. The top of the image is constrained to the top of the parent. And we're going to say bottom. So layout constraint bottom to top of, and it's going to be first image view. All right. And actually, I don't think we should constrain it to the top of the parent. We should take that out because it looks kind of funky. All right. We should actually give it some margin to get it away from the top. So, and top, let's say 50. No, so we'll say 20 dp. More than that. Let's see. 50 dp. 100 dp. Not doing anything. All right, so can we do padding? Padding top. Seem to move it down a little. Yeah, it's better. Perfect. It's good. 2 dice images, one on top of the other. All right, so we've got our second image. We've got a different ID. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to our coding. So now we could we need another one of all this basically. So we need another dice after I just deleted all those. Val, dice, 2 equals dice. And we'll give it 6 sides again. All right. And then we're going to make a second dice roll. Val, dice roll 2 equals dice 2 dot roll. Okay. And then I make another dice image. Val, dice image 2 of type image view equals find view by ID resource.id dot image view 2. Okay. All right. We'll copy all this. All right, copy. And we'll put another instance of all that below. Oh, why is this? Why with that? Tab. Okay. So that should be here. There. Okay, so control resource 2. Okay. Dice image 2. Okay. So dice image. Okay, and this should be dice image 2. Right there. Okay, and dice image 2, the content description. Okay. All right, so I cloned that. All right. I passed in another dice. I made another object, and I connected it to that other image. So it should work. Let's see. So that's just to put another dice on there, like we're rolling 3 dice. And it should have different results for both of them. So it's building it. Let's start. Close the old version. Okay, so I have 2 dice. If we roll it, do they change? Yep. All right, so the extra credit is done. Makes you want to go to a casino.